Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming to you live bright and early on a new day. Doing it in a better way on a new day. How y'all doing out there today? Okay. Now, we've been reading from this book, My Life in the Bush of Ghosts by Amos Tutuola for quite some time. A few weeks here. And we're about halfway through the book, a little bit more than halfway through actually. But some of the stories I like better than others, but this is definitely one of my favorite stories. So today's story is going to be The Short Ghost and Their Flash-Eyed Mother. The Short Ghost and Their Flash-Eyed Mother. Now, proverb for today. Let me see what I got over here today. I feel good. Okay, here we go here. Very short proverb. This one is from, I believe it's from the Congo. Let's see. We're in the Congo now. Let him speak who has seen with his eyes. Let him speak who has seen with his eyes. Now, in today's world, people try to get us to believe things. They call it, what do they call that? They call it, they have a word for it. Gaslighting. They have a thing they call gaslighting, where they try to get you to disbelieve what you've seen. They try to get you not to believe what you've seen with your lying eyes. So you saw something with your lying eyes, but then somebody's going to try to convince you that you didn't see what you thought you saw. You actually saw something totally different, the exact opposite damn near of what you just thought you saw. And so this one here says, let him speak who has seen with his eyes, because you can trust your eyes. Generally, you can trust your eyes. Okay. If you think you saw something, you saw what you thought you saw. And if you heard something, you probably heard what you thought you heard too. So today we're going to deal with the short ghost and their flash-eyed mother. Let's see what they got going on today. As all the short ghosts of the 13th town were not doing other work more than to go to bush to hunt for bush animals, to kill them and to bring them to the flash-eyed mother, who is their ruler. So this animal fell into their hands at about 9 o'clock in the morning. They shot him to death once with guns. After that, all of them started to drag him to their town, as he was too heavy for them to carry on their heads. But I did not wake. As they were doing all these things, having reached the town, all the rest of the short ghosts of this town gathered together round this curious animal. All were looking at him with much surprise, as this kind of animal was so scarce to get or see frequently in their bush. But as the hair on his body should be first scraped off carefully and kept in a safe place, as it is very precious to all of them. So at first, they scraped the hair on the first part of his body, and then they were scraping the hair inside the pouch in which I slept. So the scrapers or knives which they were using mistakenly touched one of my feet. Suddenly, then I woke inside the pouch, but as I shook my body to left and right to come out, as I did not know that it was inside the pouch of an animal I slept, I thought I was inside a room. So as I shook, the pouch shook as well in their view, and immediately all of them took their guns ready to shoot the pouch. They thought that the animal became alive again. But as one of them was wiser, he noticed carefully that only the inside or a part of the pouch was shaking. Then he expanded it and saw me there. Having discovered me, he held both my feet and dragged me out unexpectedly. and I simply found myself in the center of them. The first thing I did immediately I got out was to run away to save my life, but I was not allowed. All of them were looking at me with their terrible eyes for about half an hour. They did not talk or shake their bodies as a dummy. As they were too terrible for me to look at or to stand with, then I was running away for the second time. Perhaps I would be safe from them. But all of them gripped me violently and took me before an old woman who is the flash-eyed mother, the ruler of the 13th town. And she was the only woman in this town as I stood before her on this critical day. And when I saw her clearly, I closed my eyes tightly. At the same moment, I could not open it till I was forced to open it by these short ghosts who escorted me before her. And still, I was unable to open it in full because of her fearful, dreadful, terrible, curious, wonderful, and dirty appearance. This flash-eyed mother sat on the ground in the center of the town permanently. She did not stand up or move to anywhere at all. She was all the time beaten there by both rain and sun, both day and night. There was no single house built in this town, as she alone filled the town as a round, vast hill. It was hard for the rest inhabitants to move about or to sleep in the town. This town is about 6 miles in circumference. It was as clean as a football field. All these short ghosts were just exactly a year and a half old babies, but very strong as iron and clever while doing everything. All of them had no other work more than to be killing the bush animals with short guns like pistols, which were given to them by the flash-eyed mother. And whenever an animal is killed, they would bring it to her in the same place that she sat. Millions of heads, which were just like a baby's head, appeared on her body. All circulated set by set. Each of these heads had 2 very short hands, which were used to hold their food or anything that they want to take. Each of them had 2 eyes, which were shining both day and night like fireflies. One small mouth with numerous sharp teeth. The head was full of long, dirty hair. 2 small ears like a rat's ears appeared on each side of the head. If they are talking, their voices would be sounding as if somebody strikes an iron or the church bell, which sound would last more than 10 minutes before stopping. If all of them are talking together at a time, it would be as a big market's noises. They were arguing, flogging, and reporting themselves to their mother. They could not move about or from the body of their mother to another place. Their mother had a special long and huge head, which she was using to talk and to feed herself. It was above everything in the town, and it showed her out from a distance of about 4 miles from this town. She had a large mouth, which could swallow an elephant. Okay, now that's one big mouth. If she could swallow an elephant, uncut, she could swallow an elephant uncut. The 2 fearful large eyes, which were on the front of her head, were always flashing or bringing out fire whenever she was opening them. And this is why all the rest ghosts and ghostesses, and with all other creatures, gave her the name of Flash-Eyed Mother. Now, didn't he just say a minute ago that there were no females in this town? I know he just said that, right? So how could there be any ghostesses? All right. So I see he has a problem with that, sometimes following his own stories. That's the second time we noticed that. There were over 1,000 thick teeth in his mouth, which was about 2 feet long and brown in color. Both upper and lower lips were unable to cover the teeth. The hair on her head was just as bush. All could weigh more than a ton if cut and put on a scale. Each was thicker than a quarter of an inch and almost covered her head, except the face. All these hairs were giving shelter to her whenever it was raining and whenever the sun was scorching her, as she was not walking to anywhere. Both her hands were used in stirring soup on the fire like spoons, as she did not feel the pain of fire or heat. Her fingernails were just like shovels, and she had 2 very short feet under her body. She sat on them as a stool. These feet were as thick as a pillar. She never bathed at all. Now that actually sounds like the Queen of England, but okay. Now that's about halfway through that particular story. I see our time has already expired. I could try to read quickly through the second half of the story, but I would run out of time and I'd have to read really fast. So instead of doing that, I'm going to go ahead, end our story here, and let you know about a new thing that we're doing online. Well, it's not new. It's just that you may not be aware of it. We do have a channel on YouTube. It's the Black Facts channel, BLAKFACTS. The name may change slightly, but if you go and look for Doc Ock, you'll find it. Just Google Doc Ock and that channel will come up. Or you can go to the, if you're on Facebook and you're in the center, you go into the Center of Pan-African Culture, you join that group, then you can also, there's some links there that will take you there. Matter of fact, I just put up a new banner about a featured group, a featured playlist that we just created in there called What's at the Back of the Black Man's Mind. What's at the back of the black man's mind? And the idea of that particular playlist is to share elements from Black culture with the whole world. Sharing elements of Black or African culture. Well, we're saying Black because we're really talking about the culture of African Americans for the most part, but sharing Black culture with the elements, some of the elements of Black culture with the whole world. So you join that group, Center of Pan-African Culture. You can click the link there. It'll take you to our Black X channel. You can check out the playlist. Featured artists in that current playlist are such as The Last Poets. We have some intellectuals in there, Dr. Bobby Wright, Francis Cress Welsing, KRS-One, a rap intellectuals up in there. We've got Parliament Funkadelic, even got some living, a Living Color skit in there. We've got another comedian in there, but all of these elements go together because they get into the head of the black man, because nobody knows what's in our head. We walk around all day with this look. You see that look right there? That's like a critical look. You know, a lot of black folks walk around with a look like that on their face, and it looks like they want to hurt somebody. But it's not that they want to hurt somebody. It's really that we're just having to be cognizant of who we are and where we are at all times, because there's some code switching that we do on a regular basis. Because if we told you the truth, you couldn't handle the truth. And so that's what we're about doing in that group. We're there to talk about the truth, okay? And what's really in the back of the black man's mind that never really gets said. So check it out. You can do it in your bed. You can do it at work. You can do it out of quirk. There's no need for you to act like a big old jerk. Just do it while you can, and remember not to shirk your duty, okay? Do your duty, wear your mask, wear your gloves when you're out in public. Just because they're saying that you can go out and do whatever you want, yeah, right. You go ahead and do that, and we won't visit you at your funeral. You can just live stream that to us too. All right. So we're out for today. This is Doc Ock signing off at noon and 9. We'll be back this evening at 9 o'clock with a story for the children. In the meanwhile, stay positive. Peace out.